I always believed that 7 years of marriage meant something, that the life we built together, the house we bought, the future we planned, all of it was real. But when I came home that Friday evening expecting to see my wife Whitney waiting for me, I found something else instead. Empty spaces where her things used to be. A note on the kitchen counter with words that shattered everything I thought I knew. And I had no idea that 48 hours later everything would change again. Before we dive into this story, let me know in the comments where you are watching from today. If stories about love, betrayal, and finding your own strength speak to you, please hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. Now, stay with me because what Whitney did not expect when she walked out that door is something you will not want to miss. My name is Marcus. I am 34 years old and I work as a software engineer at a tech company in Austin, Texas. I met Whitney 8 years ago at a mutual friend's birthday party. She was 25, then working in marketing, and she had this energy about her that drew everyone in the room toward her. When she laughed, it was like the whole world got a little brighter. At least that is what I thought back then. We dated for a year before I proposed. She said yes before I even finished the question. We got married in a small ceremony with close friends and family, and I remember thinking that day that I was the luckiest man alive. Here was this beautiful, vibrant woman choosing to spend her life with me. I promised myself I would do everything in my power to make her happy. For 7 years, I kept that promise. I worked hard sometimes, staying late at the office to finish projects, always thinking about the future we were building. We bought a 3-bedroom house in the suburbs, nothing fancy but ours. We had a backyard with a small garden that Whitney wanted but never really took care of. I ended up watering those plants every weekend, but I never complained. It made her happy to have them there, and that was enough for me. 2 years ago, Whitney told me she wanted to quit her job. She said she felt lost, that she needed time to find herself and figure out what she really wanted in life. I understood. I told her to take all the time she needed, that I would support us financially. She kissed me and called me the best husband in the world. I believed her. Looking back now, I realize I missed so many signs, but at the time I was just a man who loved his wife and trusted her completely. That Friday started like any other day. I woke up at 6:30, made coffee, kissed Whitney goodbye while she was still half asleep, and drove to work. The day was busy but good. Around 3 in the afternoon, my manager called me into his office. He told me I was being promoted to senior engineer. More responsibility, better pay, recognition for years of hard work. I was thrilled. My first thought was that I could not wait to tell Whitney. I decided to keep it a secret until dinner and suggest we go out to celebrate. I left the office around 6 in the evening. The drive home took about 20 minutes, and I spent the whole time thinking about which restaurant Whitney would want to go to. She loved that Italian place downtown, the one with the homemade pasta and the candlelit tables. I figured I would let her choose. When I pulled into the driveway, the first thing I noticed was that her car was not in the garage. That was not unusual. She often went out to meet friends or run errands in the afternoon. I did not think much of it. I unlocked the front door and stepped inside. The house was quiet. Not the peaceful kind of quiet, but something heavier. There was no music playing, which was strange, because Whitney always had something on in the background. No scented candles burning, no sound of her moving around in the kitchen or upstairs. I called out her name. No answer. Something cold settled in my stomach as I walked into the living room. At first glance, everything looked normal. The sofa was there, the television, the coffee table. But then I started noticing the gaps. The decorative pillows Whitney had spent weeks choosing were gone. The bookshelf that used to hold her collection of romance novels had empty spaces between my technical books. The small photo frames that she had arranged on the side table, pictures of us on vacation, at holidays, at friends' weddings, most of them were missing. I told myself there had to be an explanation. Maybe she was redecorating. Maybe she took things to donate. But even as I thought it, I knew something was wrong. I walked upstairs, my footsteps echoing in the silence. Our bedroom door was open. I stepped inside and went straight to the closet. When I opened it, half of it was empty. Her clothes, her shoes, her bags, all gone. Just empty hangers and bare shelves where her things used to be. The bathroom was the same. Her makeup, skincare products, hairdryer, curling iron, everything had vanished. Only my razor and toothbrush remained looking lonely on the counter. My hands started to shake. My mind raced through possibilities, trying to find one that made sense. A family emergency. Her mother got sick and she had to leave quickly. But she would have called me. She would have left a message. I went back downstairs, moving faster now. And that is when I saw it. On the kitchen counter, a single piece of paper folded in half. I recognized her handwriting immediately, the elegant loops and curves that I had seen on grocery lists and birthday cards for 7 years. I picked up the note. My hands were trembling so badly I could barely hold it steady. I unfolded it and read the words that would change everything. Marcus, I have found my soulmate. I am done with this boring marriage. 7 years and I feel like I have been slowly dying inside. You are a good man, but good is not enough. I need passion. I need to feel alive. Do not try to contact me. I have already filed for divorce. My lawyer will be in touch. Whitney. I read it 3 times. Then a 4th. The words did not change. They just sat there on the paper, cold and final. Boring. She called our marriage boring. 7 years of my life, my love, my effort, and that was the word she chose. Boring. I do not know how long I stood there. At some point, my legs gave out and I slid down against the kitchen cabinet, sitting on the cold tile floor with that note still clutched in my hand. The house was silent around me, but inside my head, everything was screaming. I do not remember how I got through that first night. I know I did not sleep. I lay in our bed, the one that suddenly felt enormous, without her staring at the ceiling and trying to make sense of what had happened. Her pillow still smelled like her shampoo. That coconut and vanilla scent she always used. I found myself turning toward it instinctively the way I had for 7 years before remembering she was not there. She would never be there again. My phone sat on the nightstand and every few minutes I would reach for it, my thumb hovering over her contact. I wanted to call her to demand an explanation, to ask her what I had done wrong, but then I would remember her words. Do not try to contact me, and I would put the phone back down. But another part of me, a part that grew stronger as the night went on, was angry. Not just hurt, but truly angry. 7 years, and she could not even tell me to my face. She waited until I was at work, packed up her things like a thief, and left me a note like I was some kind of landlord she was giving notice to. As the hours passed, I found myself replaying our relationship in my mind, searching for the cracks I must have missed. And slowly, painfully, I started to find them. About 6 months ago, Whitney had started going to the gym more often. She said she wanted to get healthy to feel better about herself. I thought it was great. I even told her how proud I was of her dedication. She started buying new clothes, getting her hair done at a fancier salon, spending more time on her appearance. I complimented her constantly. I thought I was being supportive. 3 months ago, she joined what she called a book club. Every Wednesday night, she would get dressed up and leave around 7, not coming home until almost midnight. I never questioned it. Why would I? She was my wife. I trusted her. 2 months ago, I started noticing little things. She would put her phone face down on the table whenever I walked into the room. Sometimes I would catch her smiling at her screen, and when I asked what was funny, she would say it was just something silly from her book club friends. I believed her every time. Now, sitting in the darkness of our bedroom, I saw it all so clearly. The new clothes were not for the gym. The book club was not about books. The smiles at her phone were not about funny messages from friends. I had been blind, willfully, stupidly blind. When Saturday morning finally came, I felt empty. I checked my phone out of habit. No messages from Whitney. No missed calls. She had walked out on our marriage, and she did not even care enough to wonder how I was handling it. That hurt almost as much as the betrayal itself. I made a decision that morning. I would not chase her. I would not beg her to come back. I would not give her the satisfaction of seeing me fall apart. If she wanted her soulmate so badly, she could have him. I deserved someone who actually wanted to be with me. I called my younger brother Daniel. He lives about an hour away and we have always been close. When I told him what happened, he was furious. He wanted to drive over immediately to be there for me, maybe to track down Whitney and give her a piece of his mind. I talked him down. I told him I needed some time alone to process everything. He made me promise to call if I needed anything, and I agreed. After I hung up, I found myself wandering through the house, looking at all the spaces Whitney had left behind. The gaps on the shelves, the empty hangers in the closet, the missing toiletries in the bathroom. It was like she had erased herself from our home, from our life. That afternoon, I did something I am not entirely proud of. Whitney had a laptop that she used for browsing and shopping, and in her rush to leave, she had forgotten it in our home office. It was sitting on the desk lid closed, waiting. I knew I should not look. It felt like a violation of privacy. But she had already violated our entire marriage, and I needed to understand what had happened. I needed to know who this soulmate was. The laptop was not password protected. Whitney had never been careful about security. I opened the browser and saw she was still logged into her Facebook account. My fingers hesitated over the keyboard. Did I really want to see this? Did I want to know the details of how my wife had been deceiving me? Yes, I did. I clicked on her messages and found his name almost immediately. Victor Hargrove. The conversation thread went back 4 months. 4 months of flirtation, of emotional affair, of plans being made behind my back. I scrolled through the messages, each one making me feel sicker than the last. Victor was smooth, I will give him that. He knew exactly what to say. He told Whitney that she was special, that she was wasting her potential in a stagnant marriage, that she deserved a man who could match her fire. He promised her adventure, passion, a life beyond her wildest dreams. Whitney ate it up. She wrote back about how trapped she felt, how bored she was, how she had always known she was meant for something more. Reading her words about our marriage, about me, was like being stabbed repeatedly in the same wound. I could not read anymore. I closed the laptop and took a breath. Then I did something more productive. I opened my own computer and searched for Victor Hargrove. It did not take long to find him. He had a website for his life coaching business full of vague inspirational quotes and promises of transformation. He charged $300 an hour for personal sessions. His photo showed a man in his early 40s, silver-streaked hair, expensive suit, practiced smile. I dug deeper, and what I found made my stomach turn. Victor Hargrove had a history. There were reviews from former clients, mostly women, warning others about his manipulative tactics. I found a news article from 5 years ago about him being sued by a woman who claimed he had defrauded her out of $50,000. The case was settled out of court. There were forum posts from other women sharing similar stories. He targeted married women who seemed unhappy or vulnerable, showered them with attention and promises, then used them for money or connections before moving on. Whitney had fallen for a professional con artist, but then I remembered her note. Boring. Slowly dying inside. Good is not enough. Those were not Victor's words. Those were hers. He might have encouraged her, might have given her permission to leave, but the discontent was already there. She had chosen to nurture it instead of working on our marriage. I could not save her from Victor. I could not save her from herself. All I could do was save myself. The call came exactly 48 hours after I found the note. It was Sunday afternoon, and I was sitting on the back porch trying to enjoy a cup of coffee and failing. My phone buzzed on the table next to me. Whitney's name appeared on the screen. I let it ring. It went to voicemail. A minute later, another call, then another. Then a text message that simply said, "Marcus, please pick up." I ignored it all. Over the next 2 hours, Whitney called 17 times. The voicemails started polite and became increasingly desperate. The first one was calm, almost businesslike. "Marcus, I need to talk to you. Please call me back." By the 5th one, her voice was shaking. "Marcus, something happened. I made a mistake. Please, I really need to speak with you." By the 10th one, she was crying. "I am so sorry. I do not know what I was thinking. Please just call me." I read her text messages as they came in. Each one revealed a little more of what had happened. "Where are you? I am at a hotel. I do not know what to do. Victor is not who I thought he was. He tried to make me sign some papers. I think he was trying to steal my money." I left. I packed what I could and left. "Please, Marcus. I have nowhere else to go. I pieced together the story from her frantic messages. Whitney had moved into Victor's apartment the day she left me. The first night had been everything she dreamed of. Champagne, romantic dinner, promises of a new life together. She probably thought she had made the right choice. But by Saturday morning, Victor had started talking about their financial future. He wanted her to invest in his coaching business. He presented her with documents to sign papers that would have made her liable for his debts and business losses. When Whitney hesitated, Victor's charming facade had cracked. He became cold, dismissive, mocking. He accused her of being just like every other woman who was too afraid to take risks. Sunday morning, she discovered that $2,000 in cash she had brought with her was missing from her wallet. When she confronted Victor, he denied taking it and accused her of being careless. That was when the reality of her situation finally hit her. Her soulmate was a con man, and she had thrown away her marriage for nothing. By Sunday evening, Whitney had called me 23 times. I finally decided to answer. Her voice when she spoke was barely recognizable. Thin, ragged, broken by sobs. "Marcus, thank God. I have been trying to reach you for hours." I did not say anything. I just listened. She poured out everything. How she had been so wrong, how Victor had fooled her completely, how she had been manipulated and used. She told me about the documents he tried to make her sign, about the missing money, about how he had turned cruel the moment she refused to give him what he wanted. She painted herself as a victim, as someone who had been taken advantage of during a moment of weakness. And then came the question I knew was coming. "Marcus, I know I hurt you. I know what I did was unforgivable, but I am alone right now. I have no money, no job, nowhere to go. Can you please let me come home? We can talk about everything. We can try to work this out. I will do whatever it takes to make this right." She waited for my response. I could hear her breathing on the other end of the line, quick and shallow, full of hope. I took a deep breath. When I spoke, my voice was calm. Calmer than I expected. "Whitney, I said you called our marriage boring. You said you were slowly dying inside." Those were not Victor's words. They were yours. You wrote them in that note with your own hand. She started to interrupt, but I continued. "You were not manipulated into leaving me. You made that choice yourself with clear eyes and a clear mind. You packed your things while I was at work. You left me a note instead of having a conversation. You filed for divorce before I even knew anything was wrong. Victor did not make you do any of that." "But I was confused," she said. "I was not thinking clearly." "You have to understand." "I understand perfectly," I told her. "I understand that for some time, maybe months, maybe years, you looked at the life we built together and decided it was not enough. You looked at me, your husband, who loved you and supported you and gave you everything I could, and you decided I was not enough. That is fine. That is your right. But you do not get to come back now because your escape plan fell apart. Marcus, please." "No, Whitney. You made your choice. Now I am making mine." I could hear her crying on the other end, but I kept going. "For 7 years, I tried to make you happy. I worked overtime so you could quit your job. I did the household chores you did not want to do. I told myself that your happiness was my responsibility. But you were never happy, were you? There was always something missing, something I could not give you. And instead of telling me, instead of working on it together, you went looking for excitement somewhere else." I paused to let the words sink in. "I deserve better than that. I deserve someone who sees our life together as a gift, not a prison. I deserve someone who fights for us instead of running away." She was sobbing openly now, but I felt strangely peaceful. The words I was speaking were setting me free. "Your lawyer has already contacted me," I said. "I will sign the divorce papers." "That is what you wanted, remember? Well, now it is what I want too. Do not call me again." I ended the call before she could respond. Then I sat there on my porch, phone in hand, and watched the sun set over the backyard. The garden Whitney had wanted but never cared for was overgrown now, wild and neglected. But somehow in the fading golden light it looked almost beautiful. I blocked her number. Then I went inside and made myself dinner for one. The weeks that followed were not easy. I will not pretend they were. There were nights when I woke up reaching for her, mornings when I made 2 cups of coffee out of habit before remembering. The silence in the house was overwhelming at first, a constant reminder of everything I had lost. But somewhere along the way, I realized I had not just lost something. I had also gained something. Freedom. The freedom to live my life on my own terms without constantly worrying about whether I was doing enough to make someone else happy. Daniel came to stay with me for a week. He helped me pack up the rest of Whitney's forgotten belongings and put them in boxes for her sister to pick up. We did not talk about the marriage much. Instead, we watched football, grilled steaks in the backyard, and stayed up late talking about nothing in particular. It was exactly what I needed. I started running again in the mornings. I used to love running before I met Whitney, but she always complained about me leaving so early, so I stopped. Now I was back at it, hitting the pavement at 6 a.m. Watching the sunrise over the neighborhood, feeling my body grow stronger with each passing day. My colleagues threw a small party for my promotion. I went and I actually enjoyed myself. I laughed at jokes, made small talk, even exchanged numbers with a few people I had never really gotten to know before. It felt good to be part of something again. I called my parents and told them everything. My mother was heartbroken for me at first, but then she said something I will never forget. Sometimes she told me the losses that hurt the most are the ones that set us free. You did not lose your future, son. You just found out that it lies in a different direction. 3 months after Whitney left, the divorce was finalized. I signed the papers in my lawyer's office, and just like that, my 7-year marriage was officially over. I expected to feel something profound, some great wave of grief or relief. Instead, I just felt tired. Tired, but ready to move on. I heard through mutual friends that Whitney had moved in with her older sister. She was looking for work, struggling to get back on her feet. Victor had disappeared, probably moved on to his next target. She was dealing with the consequences of her choices, and I realized I did not feel happy about her suffering. But I did not feel sorry for her either. I simply felt nothing. And maybe that was the real end of it. Not anger, not sadness, not even closure. Just the quiet understanding that some chapters close themselves and all we can do is turn the page. Now, sitting here telling you this story, I realize that Whitney taught me something valuable, even if she did not mean to. She taught me that stability and loyalty are not boring. They are rare and precious. She taught me that when someone cannot see your worth, the problem is with their vision, not with your value. And she taught me that silence sometimes is the most powerful response you can give. I do not know what the future holds for me. Maybe I will meet someone new someday, someone who appreciates what I have to offer. Maybe I will be happy on my own. Either way, I know I will be okay. Because the truth is, I was never boring. I was just with someone who did not know how to recognize everything I gave her. And now I get to find someone who will. If this story resonated with you, I would love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever had someone undervalue what you brought to a relationship? How did you find your own strength after? Let me know in the comments below. If this video touched you in any way, please give it a like and share it with someone who might need to hear this message today. And if you have not already, please subscribe to this channel for more stories of resilience, growth, and finding your way through life's challenges. Thank you so much for watching, for listening, and for being here with me. I wish you peace, strength, and the wisdom to know your own worth. Until next time, take care of yourselves.